All right, are you ready for a brand new DCU update? If you haven't already, please hit the like button. YouTube loves that. It helps with the algorithm to get my message out. And hit that notification bell. Well, subscribe first, then hit the notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up. I do have numerous videos coming out very shortly. I've got one on Cocaine Bear, a movie review on that. I'm going to review the first episode of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. I've got lots of good stuff coming, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, and you will be notified when all of my videos go up. So let's talk about some DC stuff. It's really funny. I'm still making the rounds all over social media. People want to argue with me, call me all kinds of names. I find it hilarious. And just so you guys know, that stuff doesn't bother me. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there. I will never stoop to that level. I will not call people names. I will not go after people personally. I think that's ridiculous. It's childish. It's, those people who call us Snyder cultists, they're showing it 10 times worse with the Gunn stuff. I could show you some pretty crazy stuff with Gunn where they think he is the savior of the DC universe, which I think is absolutely hilarious. The guy has never written or done anything that has been epic. People talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. That was built off of a franchise that already existed. That movie would have never done well had it just been him without the backing of the the MCU prior to him actually getting the gig to do that particular movie. But even in that movie, there was some silly, ridiculous stuff that I would never want to see in a DC movie. And his Suicide Squad film was hard R and would have never made that much money out in theaters. So to give him the keys to the kingdom still boggles my mind, but that's not going to be the focus of this video. So for anybody thinking it gets me down that people are negative, it does not. In fact, when I make comments on social media, I will tell you it is a 2-to-1 ratio. I will get, it's actually a 3-to-1 ratio. So if 29 people are for Gunn, another 75 are for the Snyderverse. So it's basically a 3-to-1 ratio right now, and that's pretty consistent across the board. So you are going to find those people that absolutely are just blindly going to love everything that they do, and then there are those of us that demand more from the content. I'm that way with the comics. I'm that way, and believe it or not, the comics have been crap for about the last 3 years. DC has not produced anything amazing, save one Superman story. Outside of that, everything has been garbage. I hated the whole Future State stuff that they did, the Dark Crisis. None of that stuff ended up being anything of consequence, and it's time for them to stop doing this. There's somebody on YouTube who did a great video, a breakdown on what DC fans want from the comic books. We're not getting it there, and we're definitely not getting it from the movies currently. So let's talk about some of the stuff that's going around today. Now, first of all, in my last video, I said I was going to address the fact that Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 could make the move over to Netflix. And that is indeed true, okay? And I brought this up back when I first talked about this video months and months ago, that they could absolutely sell that storyline and those characters over to Netflix to continue the story over there. They they just sold a DC property, and I showed that in my last video. There was a story, some detective story, DC story that was not suitable for the kid-friendly stuff they're planning to do with the DC stuff, which doesn't make sense with the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. If you've ever read that series, that is definitely not kid-friendly. But they have sold some DC properties over to Netflix to be able to produce some of those things over there. It is possible for that to happen. Do I see it happening? No, I don't. Now, one thing is there was an executive who came out and said that they do expect, they are backing Gunn's plan, but if it doesn't succeed, they have another plan in place. And what I do believe they have is the plan for The Flash to probably do another film where he fixes everything and we get the Snyderverse back. I do believe that would be the second plan, because that would definitely garner a lot of talk if you brought these characters back in 3 or 4 years. which could be a very real possibility. It's all going to hinge on how well that Superman film does. It's got to be it's a pretty tall order that Gunn has to make that film out of the gate strong. If it's not, it's going to kaput the whole entire thing. But I do believe that there could be other things going on behind the scenes, and I'm going to show this interesting post on Twitter that somebody sent to me today. So on Twitter here, it said somebody said from It's That Movie channel, and I don't know how reputable they are, it says, confirmed, once Universal takes over Warner Brothers Discovery in 2024, there will be major changes for all IPs moving forward. It says it's possible the new owner of Warner Brothers will not be interested in the Gunverse for DC moving forward. That's from somebody made this up. Do I believe that this is true? Somebody asked, hi guys, any thoughts on this? Could this be true? I believe that's from Bradley Lau. All right, I see him comment on my stuff quite a bit on Twitter. I do not know if this is true or not. I have not been able to verify that. But I do believe that Warner Brothers is in such bad shape, just in general, and their movies are just a small part of what drives them. It's not what has caused their $50 billion in debt that was taken on from the previous regime. It has a lot more to do with other things outside of the movies and TV shows, and I do believe that there will be a takeover, I think sometime next year or possibly the year after that, where it's going to basically blow up everything. And I personally am for this. I want to see somebody like Universal take over, somebody who's going to respect the properties, because Warner Brothers just does not respect DC properties. So going back to the original point of could Zack Snyder's Justice League show up on Netflix? It certainly could. And our movie news definitely did a very good recap on how and why this could happen. It was picked up by a bunch of other people. And it is possible that they could do a series over there on Netflix where, because originally Zack Snyder's Justice League was going to be broken up into 5 different episodes that would get released, one a week for 5 weeks, and then you could watch it as a full movie. If they do that, I'm going to wait until the whole thing's out. I did watch the whole 4-hour movie twice the day it got released, and I think that is the best way to view it as one big film. But it is possible that could happen. I don't know that the studio is going to want to do that when they have this competing, thing going on over here. And for people who think that this might not happen with Universal, you have to think about Warner Brothers Discovery taking over and canceling stuff like Batgirl that was already finished. They could get deep into filming this stuff, and it may never see the light of day, especially if this stuff is going to, start airing next year. We may never see any of it. There is a very real possibility with the financial trouble that Warner Brothers is in that they could get taken over, and all of this might become moot to begin with. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if they said this is going to be their year. They have this 1 year to start getting on track, and if their investors don't see a whole lot of value, and if their stock doesn't rise and things aren't happening, there is a very real possibility that Universal will take over next year. In fact, I can all but guarantee that will happen if they do not right the ship. And I don't know if they really want to right the ship or not. And this whole thing with Gunn could become a non-issue if that happens. So let's talk about what is happening. So it has been confirmed that Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, is in fact going to be in Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. So she does, one of her cameos or part of that was left in there. There was supposed to be a Superman scene that I believe was not going to make it, and same with The Flash. That stuff has been taken out, even though they paid Henry Cavill for it. We'll see where it goes beyond that. But we do have that movie coming out very soon. And then we have The Flash coming out, 4 months down the road. And there have been reports out there that the plot to this storyline, and this was released online, was the fact that when Barry goes back, Zod comes to Earth. And it's going to be interesting to see why Zod comes to the Earth if Superman isn't there, unless they're picking up the trail of Supergirl, who seems to have been held captive and tucked away for many years, or for however long she's been there in some government facility. But Zod comes there, and there are no heroes to stop him. but why did he come in the first place? It's going to be interesting to see. So they're definitely going to steal a lot from Zack Snyder's films, but they're going to erase everything with that film. But regardless of that, he tries to go and find Superman, and instead he finds Supergirl. And it's reported that there are going to be a lot of cameos in there, and it's pretty much been confirmed that Grant Gustin is also going to be in the film. It could be a scene like what they did during the whole Crisis event on the CW shows. George Clooney has all been but confirmed to be in there as well. Could be during that same flashback sequence. There's supposed to be a lot of decades and different things that they go through, and it's going to show, they want to show that he could travel anywhere, anytime, any timeline. And if they do that, that could set them up to write everything in the future if things go haywire. Because there are lots of people who just do not believe that Warner Brothers Discovery knows what they're doing. And people say I'm being negative, and I'm not. I'm just stating the facts as they are. And I've been alive for a long time, and I have followed all the DC stuff since, Superman 2 came in theaters. One of my first memories of being in a theater was with Superman 2 with my dad, and Warner Brothers has been messing with these films ever since then, and it just hasn't stopped. And, they say that's going to stop with Gunn, but that doesn't mean his stuff is going to be good. And again, people say the fans don't matter. It's a general audience. The general audience is not the one that goes to see movies 6 to 12 times. It's the fans that do. And so it's going to be interesting to see. They got to play that they've got to find that fine line between the general audience and the fans to be able to appease everybody, and I just don't see that happening. I could be mistaken. We'll find out with because Creature Commandos and Waller is going to come out before Superman Legacy, and then Superman Legacy comes out. I do think we'll see the Waller show, and we'll see Creature Commandos long before, not long before, but shortly before Universal could do the takeover. But I don't see those being anchors for getting subscribers to go to HBO Max. And one interesting thing that's been happening with HBO Max, they've canceled a bunch of series like Succession just got canceled. It's going to go into its 4th season, and then that's going to be it. Westworld is over. They don't have any original series that are running that's going to drive people back. They canceled all the DC stuff like Doom Patrol and Titans. That stuff is all finished. And I still haven't finished Titans season 4. I only got, I think, 2 or 3 episodes in, and I just haven't gone back to watch it. I'll do a season review when I do finally finish it. But they don't have anything really coming up. And David Zaslav, they're going to have to spend money to make money. And it's going to be interesting to see if they are just going to do the streamer as it is and just continue to offer the content that they have, or if they're going to be bringing in more content in the future, new stuff. Because outside of Waller and outside of Creature Commandos, they really haven't announced much that is going to continue on the platform. It would be nice to see them move Superman and Lois over to HBO Max and get them off the CW, because the CW was bought by a different company, and that's not their demographic. So there's a very real possibility that after season 3, that HBO Max may pick up Superman and Lois, and it may play over there as an Elseworld story. But we'll see where everything happens. Like this next year, I'm going to be bringing all the information as it comes out. I'm going to be covering all of the news that's out there all over the internet. I'm going to be covering all of that and bringing it to you guys so that we can see how this unfolds over the next year. One thing we do know is it's going to be a very interesting year. Now, there are also some rumors out there that the second part of, the first phase of what James Gunn is doing is going to be revealed sometime in April, so sometime in the next 8 weeks. So we may see the rest of that slate, but again, I don't think a lot of that's going to come to fruition. We'll see what happens. I do appreciate the support. We will see you on the next video.